Today we're going to learn how to make milk foam using an immersion blender. First, we put some milk into a pot like this. A little bit, it doesn't have to be very much. If I want, I can add a little bit of sugar and then it will taste a little bit sweet. In this case, I'm not going to do it. And then what I'm doing is I'm heating the milk up until just before the milk boils. While we're waiting, I'll show you what an immersion blender is. An immersion blender is something like this. See, it has this little end here. Right, it can have other things on the end, and then we're just basically using that little propeller or that little blade to drive air into the milk. So half of the blade will be out of the milk and half will be in, and it'll make lots and lots of bubbles relatively quickly. So now the milk is starting to get a little bit warm, which is good. It's not quite warm enough. And this milk foam can be used in a lot of different coffee drinks. It's often hard to make it without steam. Lots of people have immersion blenders, and that's why I'm showing you how to do this, because you can do it really easily. So see, now the milk is almost going. It's not quite warm enough yet. And the reason the milk has to be warm is so that it will make bubbles. If it's cold, I don't think it will make bubbles. There we go. And sometimes these immersion blenders also have different attachments. Most people have this blade, which works well. There's probably other attachments which might work even better. There we go. And this milk is almost ready. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the heat, and now I'm going to angle it like this, and you can see half the blade is in the milk and half is outside. You have to find out what works best for you. It has the blender has speeds. I usually use the slower speed. You can use the higher speed too. It depends on what you like best. See, as you can see, half the blade is in the milk and half is out, and it's aligned with the bottom of the pot. And the longer you hold the blade in the milk with the machine on, the more milk foam you'll get. So I just wait until I get a whole bunch of it. All right, see, it only doesn't even take a minute. You can see here half the blade is in the milk and half is out. And you can see how quickly it makes milk foam. I just let the milk foam accumulate inside the pot. See, now there's a lot here. So I'm going to put the blender down. Once I've repeated this process a couple of times, making the foam and skimming it off, the cup will be full of foam. See, you can see it's a lot of foam there. We're going to put this foam into the cup. See, that's foam. That's the milk foam. You just sort of scoop it off the top of the milk. There's a lot of it. It's very quick to make it. Look, there's lots of milk foam has accumulated by this point. By this point, I've used up most of the milk, and it's been turned into foam. It doesn't take a lot of milk to make foam. This only takes a couple of minutes to make the milk foam. There we go, there's some more foam ready. Now I take a sort of a big spoon like this. It's like a serving spoon, and it's flat, and I sort of scoop off the foam. You can use any type of spoon you happen to have, but these ones are a lot better. See, there's the foam. We're going to put this foam into the cup. Now I have this cup here, or whatever cup you happen to have, and I just skim the milk foam off like that. See, it's foam. Now I take the milk that I've skimmed off the top and I put it into the mug. So there's a little bit there. I have to make lots more. Now I dump the rest of the milk into the foam. That'll do well in the coffee. As you can see, this mug is now really full of this milk foam. This is important because we need lots of milk foam in order to make a high little foam mountain on top of the coffee. Now the coffee is nice and hot and it's ready to be poured into the milk foam. You can use whatever type of coffee you want, cappuccino, instant, you've already made it with a coffee maker. You can mix some milk in it already, whatever you want. Now I used some gloves and pick up the coffee pot. The gloves protect me from getting my fingers burned. What I'm doing now is I'm going to pour the coffee in right into the middle, and it's going to make a hole in the foam, and then as you can see, you get sort of a top on, there's a bunch of milk foam that's on top of the cup of coffee. You can see it like that. If you do it really carefully, it'll look a lot neater than this. And just make a little hole in the foam. You can patch it up too with a spoon. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some cinnamon and I'm going to hold from a jar, and I'm going to hold it a little bit above the coffee, maybe 6 inches, and I'm just going to dust it like that. And what'll happen is you can see, because it's from a height, it's sort of, the cinnamon sort of disperses, and then it looks much nicer. It sort of evenly spreads over the milk foam. That's what the milk foam looks like. And there's coffee underneath there. It has a big impressive sort of mountain of foam on top of the cup, which looks really cool. What you can do is take a regular chocolate bar and you can just shave a little bit off like that. and then it'll go right on top of the cup of coffee, and it's like, and it looks even nicer. See, this is kind of how it looks. See, it just makes the little chocolate shavings. That's all you need. Just be careful not to cut yourself. It can be any type of chocolate, whatever you like. This is what the milk foam looks like when it's finished. See, and it has some toppings on it. You can also put cocoa powder or whatever you want on it. So what happens is, as you pour the coffee into the milk foam is up to about here. Then the coffee, as the coffee goes in, the milk foam rises because it floats, and then it makes this sort of a milk foam mountain on top.